We're back for another episode of the Bourbon Cabin. Welcome.
Hope you're having a wonderful night wherever you are. I'm Dylan.
I'm Connor.
And today we have, what do we have?
Found North.
Oh, good deal.
20-year Peregrine.
20 years? Okay.
Cask strength. So there's been a lot of this going around. I say the bottle. The bottle hasn't been going around, but videos have been going around to the video. Able to secure a bottle, so...
Thought we'd dig into it.
We'll see.
It's been pretty popular around the bourbon world. I think I've had Found North before, but I don't think I've had the 20-year Peregrine.
It's new this year. They just dropped it kind of right at the end of the year there, in December at some point. So, so let's... Guys, you know the drill with the Bourbon Cabin. It's open, but we haven't tried it. So literally I go to pick this up from one of the local stores, and the guy goes... Well, I hope you enjoy it, assuming you're one of those people that actually opens your bourbon and doesn't keep it. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes,
shame.
He goes, well, we got 6 of them, and he goes, I've sold 4 of them, and he goes, and I've asked all those guys, and they're keeping them as an investment. And I'm like,
look, I'm okay if you happen to win a Pappy or whatever, you want to keep that as an investment, great. But come on, like by and large,
so
you buy a car, drive the car. I mean, that's my mentality.
Yep. So I had to open it right then and there, and they were able to track down 2 little sample bottles, and I poured them samples right then and there. So
that's cool.
So guys, a little bit about this Found North coming out of Canada.
That's
They do a bunch of blends, and I want to read to you guys what goes in here. I'm not sure that you actually...
I'm not aware.
Okay,
no.
So 20-year rye finished in ex-Speyside Scotch casks. 23-year corn whiskey finished in New American Oak, which to me, they say it like that, but to me it just means bourbon, but they probably can't say bourbon because... But
Canada.
23-year corn finished in refill oak casks. 24-year-old corn whiskey finished in ex-bourbon casks. And 27-year corn whiskey finished in Hungarian oak casks.
There's 2 heavy hitters from the Scotch world there. You have Hungarian oak and then, of course, Speyside.
So
will be interesting to see how that
everything's
translates.
20 to 27 years. So let's dig in. Let's.
Yeah. You're making me salivate over here.
Okay. Some nice dark. I'm not sure. Did we give a proof?
We did not.
Not give a proof. 126.2.
Okay.
So. Yeah, 76% corn, 23% rye, 1% barley.
I can immediately, and I do like Scotch. I drink Scotch quite often as well. But I can immediately, on the nose, get some of that Scotch overtones.
Peated a little bit.
Yeah.
I might get a little bit of that peated.
I'm getting some Speyside. I'm getting some sea salt. And then I'm getting something light in there, maybe like a dried apricot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, plum, pear, maybe. I think you're more on with apricot, though.
A white fleshed fruit, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Dried mango.
Cheers. Oh, my.
Ooh.
This is good. Immediately, the first thing that hits you is how viscous this thing is. It's like drinking oil almost. It is very viscous. The second thing, I get an overwhelming sweet
honey.
Okay,
that is
at the 4 note there, at the very tip of the tongue.
Yes,
very sweet. And then followed by a bite, a big loud
mid palate and bite you,
which I'm a fan of.
And it almost that sweetness, guys, right at the very front. It is. I mean, it is like dripping honey on the tip of your tongue. To me, when it hits that mid palate, it's kind of more of like a brown, sugary, molasses-y.
Yep.
Kind of that pure sugar goes away, and it's a little bit darker. It's almost like a rude honey, like a roux.
You'd have to try it, but he's pretty accurate with that. Yeah, like a reduced honey or something.
Yeah.
And
guys, it is viscous. It coats. Holy cow.
And how would you describe that aftertaste? Right after the bite, they're very pleasant.
So to me, that's where I'm actually getting the apricot that we smell. So I get that. And to me, it's almost like I'm not sure that I would call it apricot. Have you guys ever had dried cucumber?
I haven't had dried.
And dried melon.
I've had dried melon.
Yeah. So to me, that's like a dried cantaloupe.
I'd almost say like a little bit of salt on top of that dried cantaloupe too. I get a little
like a salted caramel salt.
Yeah, like a.
I think I can pick up what you're saying. I'm not sure that I would have picked up on that, but I think I can.
This is quite good. I don't know what you paid for the bottle, but it was worth it.
So I was just telling him. So I tried getting one of these online when they first dropped. I didn't get on in time. They sold out before I could get it. The local store that got them in, at some point I had talked to them about the Found North stuff when I was looking. So when they got this in, they actually called me and said, hey, it's hitting the shelf today. We opened it, whatever time. And they said, hey, it's hitting the shelf. You better be here. We're going to, and of course I'm at work, so I didn't get to go for 4 or 5 hours after. But they still had a bottle left. So
it makes me sad.
Sorry. The point is that they were selling for $200 online, $199.99, and I paid $180. So
it's I would pay $180 for it.
Yeah.
It's different enough and unique enough, and it makes me sad that there's people out there who are letting it sit on their shelf untasted. I can see why. It will probably be very valuable, but I for one will have no problem drinking it. I mean, this is good. What would you rank it?
It's damn good, guys. To me, the question is whether or not it surpasses the 90.
That's interesting. I was about to write down my score, and it was going to be like 90.5. Like, I think it does personally surpass that 90 mark. It's
it is
delicious.
right in that 90 mark. I think right now I want to put it above 90. Realistically, I think this is kind of a new good flavor for us. I think after we taste some other heavy hitters, give it 3 weeks and we have a couple. My guess is it's going to be somewhere in that 88, 89 where we would finish it off.
I do. The uniqueness is probably inflating my score a little bit, and that 0.5 is because of the craftsmanship. I mean, that's a well-crafted bourbon.
It's a cool label too. Like, not that we give points but it's got the topo on the outside, the Peregrine. It's a good-looking bottle.
We ought to do a video. We ought to let us know if it's something you'd be interested in seeing, but like ranking bourbon only with our eyes and then seeing how it correlates taste-wise. Coolest labels.
The old, picked by the label. Well, guys, you heard it here. It's
fantastic.
And watching all the other videos out there and the other reviews, we're no different than what everybody else has posted.
It's a good bourbon. You can't hide that. And
so, last point before we let you guys go. What would you pay for this?
Honestly, 180 is probably the max. Like, I think they nailed the price. That's as much as you could squeeze out of me.
It is not.
It's a bourbon still, right? I mean, technically.
Technically, it's not because it comes out of Canada, right?
Right.
But and it's finished.
It's
in all these
corn
other
whiskey.
Right, finished in all these other extra things, right? It's damn good, guys. There's not many bourbons out there that you can say that they nailed the price, and when you find it, it's at MSRP. And I can tell you that Found North with this bottle did that. It did. They nailed that price. That 180 to 200. I think they say 200. I paid 180. That's what it's worth. Obviously, if you found it for 205,
it's a hard bottle to find. So
right,
yeah,
that's an extra 2.5%. Like, to me, that'd be worth it. But
you got to eat the MSRP or the markup on this bottle because it's worth it.
Well, you guys have a good night at the Bourbon Cabin. We're going to go try to stay warm on this Found North.
Oh, we're going to finish this. Cheers.
Cheers.